Proof that Jesus Christ is real. His crown of thorns, the nails on his cross, the sandals he wore, his garment, the sign that was hung above his head on the cross, his grave, his shroud, splinters of the cross and the hair of his mother Mary, a piece of tablecloth from the Last Supper, Mary's veil. Look, the fact of the matter is Jesus existed. There's an overwhelming scholarly consensus that he existed among historians. But historically speaking, we do not have any artifacts of Jesus. We don't have his clothes, we don't have his shoe, we don't have his hair, we don't have his shroud. These things are all people, they made them up. You can look at, whenever you've seen any of these things, Google when they were discovered, right? And you'll find a century in which they were discovered, or when they were supposedly made up, and it'll be like Spain in this 1300s, or this part in this hundreds. Every church has their own fabrications that happened at some time in the history. Also, if you're an apostolic Christian, you should laugh at yourself for posting this, because the canonical tomb of Jesus, according to almost all apostolic churches, is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and this was a Protestant invention in the 18th century or 19th century. But yes, we have no artifacts of Jesus or Mary historically, and that's not a bad thing. Most people in history, we don't have their artifacts lasting 2,000 years because things disintegrated and there was a bunch of wars. Jerusalem was destroyed. There was civil war in the Roman Empire, persecution of Christians. So it's obvious that most things won't be preserved. That's not like an inherently bad thing. But you don't need to fabricate stuff to make it true. But let's say you don't want to believe me or all the major historians in the world. What you can do is whenever you find an object, Google where it was discovered, who discovered it, and how the claim started. And usually, for example, the Shroud of Turin, when you Google it, it was discovered in a French town, presented by a guy to the church. There's no record of how he got it. And there are writings from that time who talk about how this is a fabrication. Now, let's think logically. If the apostles had the Shroud of Christ, you don't think they would talk about it, write it, would not be passed down through the church as this very, very powerful heirloom? Obviously would have. The second thing you have to look out for is Christian website misinformation. A lot of people say, well, it was radiocarbon dated to the time of Christ. It had radiation energy that was higher than the sun. A lot of BS claims that you'll see people make. And that's because a lot of Christians on the internet are pathological liars. Ever since the early church and the fabricated gospels they made. That's a separate story. But the point is, you'll hear a lot of claims. You need to check these claims and where they're coming from. People say, oh my God, the Shroud of Turin would heal anyone who touched it. Yeah, just jokes. So when you see new evidence, first of all, it's not new. People have been talking and yapping about the Shroud of Turin for a good 700 years now since it was fabricated. And what do you call people making all these random claims, 2,000-year-old this, that. Know that most of these people are just trying to get the new popular thing. And you'll see this with a lot of artifacts from Christ. New nail discovered, new dress discovered. There won't be artifacts of Christ discovered. That does not mean it not exist. It's just that there wouldn't be, because had there been, they would have already been preserved by the early church and by the people that have went there thousands of years ago. Things like new buildings will be discovered, yes, right? You can find maybe a new ancient building in an archaeological site, but you're not going to find, for example, a new cloth. And even if you found a cloth like 2,000 years old that survived, there would be no way of knowing whether it belonged to Jesus or the thousands of people that lived in that area, right? Historically speaking and logically speaking, that's just not real. So yeah, don't fall for these viral clickbait videos. You don't need this to prove Jesus existed. He objectively existed, right? And we have that via a lot of attestation of his existence and stuff like that. That's going to be very hard to fabricate. So when people